lot of times I'm driving, there's nothing to do, and I shuffle through the radio before I unglue. There's a lot of red on ways, it's traffic, I'm screwed, and I'm wired a bit different than a regular dude. It's not a bad thing, I embrace it, it's true. The radio don't stimulate brain chemistry fluid. The Buddha found nirvana and the Four Noble Truths. Through a meditative process, right action he proved. For me, I require the use of a tool, a detector, pin, pointer, shovel, and beach scoop. I'm meant to work the dirt with my history crew, but everywhere I look, my interest taboo. Most people choose Bieber over Tippecanoe. What does a detectorist listen to when the radio is full of bad music and news? I need an alternative for me to peruse. Beyond Sight and Sound gets fantastic reviews. A metal detecting show where my thought bubble brews. Thank you, Josh Kimmel, for inviting me to a detecting dork out with guests like yours truly.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at XTREME Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. XTREME Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. XTREME Scoop's company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. XTREMEScoops.com. That's XTREME scoops.com. Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show. All right, we're back and we're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for all the really cool digging people out there. And I guess not only does this show possibly give dreams of silver and gold, but it may also give dreams of silver and gold sales. Oh, but first let's look into the chat, as small as my chat looks. Another story. But I do see from some of the comments that I'm getting here in the chat, it looks like the Bills are in, Scotty's in, Mark, welcome aboard, Chuck, and the rest of the crew. I'm not sure. Really not sure here. Looks like, okay, Bill is giving us the current gold price, $2,050. And that is as we go live. I know earlier this afternoon I checked and it was right around, I'm going to say 2042, 2048, something like that. Silver was hovering right around $36 an ounce. Insane! Insane! Awesome, but insane. It's like the Hunt brothers in the 80s. I don't know. But before we get into all that, let's check out the links. Obviously, first and foremost, our friends over at Shooters and Prospectors. Chuck Smalley, the man with the plan, the dealer of choice, the dealer we like to promote here. A very, very good dealer, and also he is taking pre-orders for the Apex. I know that we did have it as a pinned post on the Beyond Sight and Sound page, but it had dropped down in the feed during the July challenge. In light of Sunday's episode, we finished up the July challenge, so we have unpinned that post and pinned the Apex pre-order post again, back up there at the top of the Beyond Sight and Sound page. So people can get all the information they need from that post. I'm sure they can find it over on Shooters and Prospectors, or many of you that are regular listeners know how to find Chuck. Good thing. Good thing. Definitely. And he's a multi-line dealer. DETECTEES.com, Extreme Scoops, TheRingFinders, Crazy Spider Adventures, Ohio Metal Detecting, Detected Outdoors, Metal Detecting NYC, Illinois, Iowa Treasure Hunters. Also, while we're at it, while you're on Facebook checking out the Illinois, Iowa Treasure Hunters, make sure and check out the Metal Detecting Central Illinois Facebook group, who recently broke 1,000 members milestone. Looks like my chat is still not responding properly again tonight. Imagine that. That's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Current silver prices. Okay, maybe I misread it earlier. Maybe it was 26. But it is 2702 currently. 2,050 on gold, 2702 on silver. And thanks to Bill for that. I had meant to check them right before I threw the switch to go live, and did not get the chance to. But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And we certainly do appreciate the current prices. Definitely. Bill can be quite an asset to the chat when it comes to throwing that information in, as well as other links and the such. And we do appreciate it. Also, we have the link for the Nokta Makro website, the Mini Horde commercial, and the link. Also, this link is in the chat as well as in the description, but the link for Midwest refineries. And we'll get into that here in a minute, too. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to... I don't know. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to deal with the chat. Welcome to Barb. Also, our condolences out to her and her family. Definitely. I think that we've got the link for the electrolysis boot camps in the description as well. We've been carrying that for quite some time. If you've got an ugly box and you would like to learn more about the ugly box and electrolysis, you should definitely check out those video links. Chuck also carries the ugly boxes and the large reboot kits, which is, I want to say, a half-pound container of the brine solution, your clips, your carbon, the whole 9 yards, basically, to reboot your electrolysis setup, your electrolysis tank. If you have an ugly box and you need to reboot, give him a holler. If you don't have an ugly box and you'd like one, give him a holler. You will have all you need to get started, other than a tank to use. And come on, many of us have a some sort of Tupperware container laying around somewhere that we can use. The last mention, like I said, check out the I&I group, the Metal Detecting Central Illinois group, and also welcome aboard to Dylan from the Relic Hunter Facebook group. be sure and check that out as well. And I see Chuck says in the chat that prizes are being sent to you. Very good to hear. For those, and congratulations once again to our winners from the July challenge. I cannot express how pleased we were, not only with the participation of those entering correct answers or attempting to enter their best guess, but also how much we appreciated the way this contest grew over the month. It started to take on a life of its own and kind of evolved into something really pretty cool that I think got our minds off of a lot of different things at the time when many of us may have needed something to kind of get our mind off of things. Like I said, we started out, it was me and John. We had the silver round, we had the copper round. I jumped in with the silver spider rounds. Chuck jumped in with the keeper's box and snake skin. And we were having so much fun, we just made sure that we'd make first, second, and third place all get a silver spider round. And then right there towards the end, Mike Lacquemette from Metal Detecting Central Illinois jumped in with the very, very nice grab bag. The prices that I was in control over to ship out, which was, let me see, the Silver Spider round that went to Ed Olson, and the Copper Zombuff and Silver Spider round that went to Nelson Sauter. Those prices have been shipped out. They were shipped out, I want to say, late Tuesday afternoon. They have both been notified. They have both received tracking numbers, and I am also tracking those packages as well. First place prize that went to Hunter in Alabama should be shipping out here very soon from Crazy Spider. And I believe the grab bag from Mike Lacquemette will be shipping out by the end of the week, I believe is the last I heard. Which, if you're a member of the Metal Detecting Central Illinois group, I'm sure you'll see him post up about it when that ships. So we've got all that done and out of the way. And like I said, we really, I don't think we can express enough the amount of our appreciation for those that participated, whether it was on the playing side or whether it was on the donation of prizes. So, once again, big shout out there to Chuck as well as Mike. And I guess you could say John too, because he also made his prize pack grow with the Rube steak sauce and seasoning, which was, I don't know, that's some tasty stuff. Looks like it anyway. Looks like it. So, we've got that out of the way. Next note. Yes. Still looking for information, feedback from users who have updated their Equinox in different parts of the country, just to stay apprised of the situation and how they're doing. We have heard mixed results. Obviously, results are going to vary from location to location and user experience level. More than happy to hear what people's experience is with the new Equinox update. If they want to send it in a message or whatever, don't be surprised though if I don't ask what are the environmental conditions like, what was the soil conditions like, what were you running your sensitivity level at, how long have you been running a Nox, different things of that nature, just to get a better grip of what's going on with this update. So far, We've heard some glowing reviews. We've heard some not so glowing reviews. I still have not ran the update. I still say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. My Nox is working quite fine. Now, though, as we continue with that update and driving to get more information about it, who knows? Maybe I'll go ahead and run the update. For the time being, the jury's still out. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see. And for you Vanquish users, and I don't know, maybe maybe Chuck can chime in the chat or call in at some point during the program and let us know how it seems to be going. But the other day, I did post up a link and shared it in a few groups that for you Vanquish users, Minelab has released a Vanquish update. Unfortunately, I'm not able to give you any information past that. I did not read the docket on this one. I don't own a Vanquish. I haven't seen a Vanquish around. So it's I'm just presenting people with the news of the update. I'm not going to tell you to update or not to update if you're a Vanquish user, because I do not have any experience with that machine. There again, just like with any of the other updates that we've talked about, whether it's Equinox, whether it's the Simplex, whether it's the Vanquish, it's entirely up to you. If you would like to update, you have to make that choice for yourself. How's it going, Mike?
Good, Josh. How you guys doing?
Hey, we're hanging in there. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, I did the update for my Nox 800.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's hear what's your verdict? How much time have you had with it since the update?
I did it the night before, actually Saturday night, then Sunday when we went to the beach to get my therapy in. Got about 2 hours on it. And for hunting the beach and that, once you're in beach mode too, if you're in the wet and out in the water, so much smoother. I mean, very smooth.
Okay, so
the
it's
VDI
handling
isn't jumping around as much.
Okay, so the VDIs aren't jumpy as much, and it's handling the saltwater environment very well then.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And then when I even went to beach mode 1 for the dry sand and that, it was a lot smoother and everything compared to the normal previous update that they had.
Okay. And did you notice, I mean, obviously, who can say for sure, did you notice whether or not there was any sort of possibly an increase in depth? And on top of that, did you come out of multi-frequency mode at any point and try just the 4 kilohertz single frequency?
I didn't go into the 4 kilohertz just because of being in the beach zone.
Right.
Because I was mostly, as you've seen the pictures, I was mostly all out in the water. So I wasn't even attempting to play with the 4 kilohertz.
Right.
Out there with the therapy and stuff like that, but so much smoother, and it handles it so much better than before. Because even though when you're up in the surf zone, before the update, you would always get that little
bit of chatter
right when the wave was coming.
Yep.
Yeah, just right when the wave was coming through. But
right
this time, I mean, very, very minute.
Which, I mean, for some listeners, they got to stop and take into consideration too. We're talking about a saltwater environment, and we're talking about the surf zone, and that's kind of a tough spot for many machines. The true simultaneous multi-frequency, the true simultaneous multi-frequency of the Mine Lab does very well in that environment, but like you said, when the surf is coming in, you'll get a little bit of chatter. But the way it sounds, the latest update may have even helped stabilize that.
Yes, that's one thing I was seeing, and was very shocked that it actually smoothed out in that situation for that area.
Okay, and do you mind? I mean, obviously, if not, don't even bother answering, but do you mind sharing with us what you were running your sensitivity at?
Wide open. At the beach, I always run it wide open.
Okay. All right. So it's very, very good probability then. That sounds like another glowing review that it has stabilized it, because I've spoken with some people that they'll run their sensitivity maybe as low as 14 or 15, saying that, well, it's a good stable machine at that point, where others may run it up a little higher. And I like to run mine up there quite a ways. Usually I'll run as hot as I can get and still maintain stability. So when you hear, like, say, for example, Devil's Advocate, somebody that runs theirs at 14 sensitivity and installs the update and says, well, I didn't really notice much of a difference. Well, you may not notice a difference at that point. So that's why I was curious to know what your sensitivity was at.
Yeah. Because I want to try to make sure I don't miss anything. I mean, I did dig a freaking crap load of pull tabs and everything else. Mark Ruby probably was out there seeding at the beach before I got there on Clearwater. I know he would have taken a special flight for something like that.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
But
of course, I don't know.
No rings.
With as many pull tabs as he sent me, I was thinking maybe his collection was running a little low. But who knows? Who knows? And you're right. I mean, it's, as a beach hunter by nature, or even water hunter, 99% of the time, we're going to dig every consistent signal. We don't care if it sounds like a pull tab, because it could be a gold ring. And hey, let's face it, the price of gold right now, I'm digging every pull tab signal out there.
Oh yeah. I got enough that I can melt down and get a nice, at least couple ounces of aluminum.
Well, hey, there you go. I saw, what was that? Somewhere on Facebook a week or so ago, somebody had done that with a whole pile of aluminum cans and basically melted them down and poured themselves a nice big aluminum ingot.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, though, it sounds like the update is working well for you then. Are there any, well, let's see. With the time that you've spent with the update so far, do you have any regrets about doing the update?
As of right now, I can't say yay or nay, because I haven't really got it out into the dirt area, which, if anybody knows Florida, we don't really have much dirt. It's, you dig 2 inches past the sod and you're right back into sand.
Exactly. And that's a good answer. That's a very good answer. You're not jumping the gun on your conclusion. You want more time with the machine in more environments to see how it's working out for you. And I like that answer, because a lot of people, they'll go out with the machine and spend, 2, 4, 6 hours with it or whatever. And then automatically they're like, oh, it's a great machine. I know it inside and out. No, you don't.
Exactly.
You haven't given yourself enough time. So I like that. You're giving yourself time, and that's a good thing. We've got Chuck on with us too. How's it going, Chuck?
Real good.
How's it
Real
going,
good.
Chuck?
Hey, Michael, how you doing, buddy?
A lot better than I was Saturday.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
That's what we
That's
like
real
to
good.
hear.
Yep, you got a little dirt time in, or beach time, or sand time in Florida. It's sand all over pretty much. So you get up on the very north side. So, and you got that input. We appreciate anything that we hear about it. We're just doing a common little poll. That's all. We're liking to see, and that's it.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pushing for more feedback. I want to hear more feedback before I do that upgrade, and that's.
And I haven't heard anybody with a Vanquish 540 or above that has done the update yet. We'll see how that works out.
Right, but it is there as an option for them.
Yep, it's there. It's there. Use it.
I don't know.
Some are out there. I had one gentleman tell me it didn't really make a big difference for him. But we'll see. And another one thought that maybe he had some problems with it afterwards. But, everybody's going to tell you differently, and that's fine. And I'm not saying not do it. I'm just saying if you've done it, let us know what you're finding out. Todd told us the other night how it worked for him. Hi, Todd. I see you're on there.
Oh, welcome to Todd.
So, just interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Because you figure people that update their machine, the feedback that we're going to receive from them may vary from location to location, and people have to remember too that feedback may be different for someone who has a different skill set. If they've used a Nox longer and they can understand it better and they can handle it better, they may be more apt to give it a better recommendation for the update than someone who doesn't understand their Nox very well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just off of what, CT Todd was saying the last show when he was talking about the update and that, he's what really persuaded me to actually get when he said it leveled out and smoothed out when running, that's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Then that's what I did.
Yeah, I was very, very pleased to hear what he had to say on how it handled EMI. And that was almost enough for me to go ahead with the update as well. Just because I know I do have a couple of spots around here that the EMI does give a little bit of issues for those who are maybe less experienced. But now being able to hear how it deals in the saltwater environment as well as the surf zone, those are, I mean, you bring valid points to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to see too.
Been down in Miami, South Beach with my girl last year, and that surf zone, I mean, it was hard.
It can be.
Every time a wave would come in, it was like, wah, 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 wah.
Yep.
Over at Clearwater, the waves aren't as bad as the East Coast, but it was still
noticeable.
Very subtle. You just get a very small, whoop, and that was it.
Right. Well, that's definitely good to hear.
That's coming through for everybody, maybe, or more and more. That's a good deal.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we like to hear. I mean, so far with the latest Equinox update, I have heard of some people that take it or leave it. I'm not very impressed with it, but I have heard quite a bit on the positive side as well, too. And right now it seems like I'm beginning to hear more and more positives than negatives.
Mm-hmm. Good. So, well, Michael, I got a question for you.
28.
13? No.
12. All right. No, I got a question for you. All right.
Yeah.
With gold prices where they're at and the silver's coming up hard, are you going to, if you found rings and that you have, are you selling?
I, believe it or not, all the years I've been metal detecting, I still haven't got a gold ring.
Really?
Even with being down here in Florida. Yep.
Wow.
So I can tell you the first gold ring app, it's going to be a keeper unless I can get it returned to the owner.
No, yeah.
There you
I
go.
mean, I've returned a lot of them, and that's fine. But I do have some that are old and extremely nice shape or so-so shape that they're going to get melted. And I just kind of wonder what everybody's doing out there right now. It's up there so hard and high, and we know how gold and silver can make that
Fluctuate.
meteoric rise and then crash just as fast.
Right.
Or even faster.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's selling and flooding the market, and the price just drops like a brick.
Right. You know, I have some friends of mine that have already sold stuff. They said, I'm not going to wait around. I got caught the last time thinking, I'll wait. Bam, it dropped. So they've sold some things, silver and gold.
Right. Well, and that's why I kind of figured we'd run the show along this topic tonight, because it would be curious to see what people are thinking, what they are going to do, whether that's in the chat or through messages or calls or whatever. Because for some people, they do very well finding gold rings. So this may be the time for them to sell. I mean, I've seen some people with display cases of gold rings, I'm sure you have too, Chuck, where they quite possibly could sell that case and literally buy a house.
I've seen those cases like that, and yes, they see. I've got raw gold that I've held for a long time.
Right.
God's gold. All right. And I'm looking at what's going on, and there's Midwest. It's going to go to Midwest refineries, is where it's going to go.
That's why I've got
tomorrow is shipping.
That's why I've got that link in the description, because I've got to tell people, and you and I touched on this a few shows back. If you're going to do it, I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine. But if you're going to sell, don't go to a we buy your gold. You know, go to Midwest refineries. You're going to get a very good price, unless you're comfortable dealing with your local person that you may sell a few pieces to from time to time. But if you're
the
going
local
to
coin
sell,
dealers will work with you pretty tight. The corner,
if you have a good working relationship with them,
right. So we just kind of, it's time. I mean, it's time, but I don't know how much I will sell. That'll be determined tomorrow, and see how much I want to get dinged. Because they do report that, by the way, if you go over a certain amount.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, they have to.
And
they
that
have to. They report. So Uncle Sam and me could be tight this year.
And that is what has driven the popularity of fractional gold up. I want to say, what is that? I could be wrong here. I want to say it's, $600 is reported, or $800?
On a sale in the state of Illinois, I have to report, I think it's 3,000 or above.
Okay. And that could,
yeah.
Obviously for those listening, you have to understand that could vary state to state.
That's what I was just getting ready to say, because each state is going to be different on how much money exchanges is how much they're going to have to report.
Right, where that guideline is, that the that very fine line where that paperwork gets filled out. And now Uncle Sam knows your business. And for some people listening, they don't want that. They want to stay low profile. They want to stay under the radar. I mean, I myself have thought about selling a few pieces, because I I do. I find gold rings here from time to time. Recently, well, not too awful far back, I had found that 1890s era gold band, and I had sworn up and down, that thing's got more historic value to me than the monetary value of the gold, because at that point, that band, that weight, it was probably worth about $115, $120, something like that. Now, fast forward to today, that same band is worth more than $160. But that's still not enough for me to let go of that one.
It is making me itch for my pay dirt that I still got to pan out. So
there you go. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Got about, I think, 6 pounds left from the Lynch Mine pay dirt company that I still got to pan out and run and get cleaned up.
Were they down in the southeast? Are they out of Carolinas, Lynch?
No, Lynch. That one is in I want to say out the southwest, out in like Nevada or Arizona, I believe.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it. That's why I asked. I know there's like several of them out in North Carolina that sells bags of this and that. So no, I had for quite a few years. I'd ship pay dirt, the kinds what we didn't work up at the finals back home here, and I had almost 500 pounds of it tucked away.
Ooh.
And we ran that 2 years ago, and I was quite pleasantly surprised what I had there for fine gold, and then centrifuged it and got quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So
for being there in Florida, you ain't going to be digging anywhere unless it's a gold ring or a gold coin.
There you go.
I got to pay for my dirt.
Right. Well, you could always make a trip to Ohio. Ohio's Gold Rush days are coming up.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. It doesn't sound like that's canceled yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. Thankfully, it's not in our county. Otherwise, it probably would be. We, what was that, Tuesday, I think? We earned the prestige that our county is #1 in the state for concentration of COVID-positive cases in 14 days.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not a happy camper.
No, that's not something you want to be #1 on.
Right, exactly. I'm going, yeah, way to go, idiots. Woo, good job. Overachievers. Yeah. Yep.
Bill put up Gold Rush Days at the 5th and 6th out at the Swank Claim in Butler, Ohio. I've been to the Swank Claim one time.
Wow. And there's still stuff left?
It was well loved when I got there.
Yes, it is. You there's definitely no debating that. You do make a good point. It is.
Many of the GPAA claims are very, very well loved, but they still produce. So, yes, they do.
Exactly.
Yes, they do.
And you figure, I don't know, I guess in a sense, GPAA claims are for the gold enthusiasts, like your local park is for a newcomer to metal detecting.
Right.
It's not that you're not going to find anything, but it's been worked over pretty good.
Yep.
You will still find things.
It is. I've traveled South Dakota. The claims that they had there were super loved, but you'd still roll up some color out of them. And there were a couple high altitude ones in Colorado. If you wanted to get up there and work them, you could get a little gold out of them. But Alaska claims, they still show some good color up there. California claims up in Northern Cal A couple of them, but I actually spent 6 weeks on one, and we did very well.
Nice.
The
Definitely.
year I retired, I spent the entire summer out there crewing on their fall trip, and we did well. And then they shut down dredging.
The year you retire, I don't think you'll ever retire completely.
Yep.
Oh, always got something going on.
Bill says they have a new lease.
Yes, they do.
An hour from there, and he says that's producing some nice pans.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
what I've been hearing, and that sounds very interesting. I've been kind of keeping an ear to the ground on how that particular location is doing. It's been rather surprising. They've been doing a lot of work out there, though.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. And who knows, some of them people that are hitting these claims in Ohio, they may be thinking it's time to sell too. I mean, what was it? I think as we went live, $2,050. That's quite a bit.
That's amazing because, after the Hunt brothers, the silver and the gold drove up that time, and then we've had some other highs, but this is amazing.
It is. And so far from what we're seeing from the prices and the ratio, silver is still low, surprisingly.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now there's some folks talking. I read a lot of this, different experts out there, and 40 to 50 is easy to attain here.
At this point, seeing what gold is doing, I do think it's possible. It's possible. We will see over 30, I think, at the rate that it's going, and I'm thinking we'll even see it up there where it was when the Hunt brothers ran it up.
Yeah, that was right at that. What was it? I just read it today.
$48, I believe.
Yeah, it spiked to that on a 1 or 2 day basis, and then fell like a rock.
Right. And one of the reasons could be, I mean, for people that are into coins and stuff, you hear the coin collectors talk from time to time about the great silver melt of the 80s. That's what drove the value up on some of the silver coins, because many of those silver coins of those mints or dates got melted down.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
Yes, they did. They went away quick. And, geez, antique silver, antique
oh, yeah,
sterling silver items. Literally, the shop in Davenport, went over there quite often. They had lines going down the block.
Yep.
People bringing stuff in to sell off.
Oh, yeah, selling grandma's flatware and everything else they can get a hold of.
Yes. So, I'm quite sure it's going to, if it reaches into those type of areas again, you're going to see a lot of that again.
I think so, yeah. Especially, and this is another aspect of it, especially in the time that we're in. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people are struggling to make ends meet. Maybe unemployment's not cutting it. Maybe unemployment hasn't went through yet. Anything like that. These are going to be some of the first people in line, probably.
Well, those guys, and the guys that do all the coin roll hunting, if they've been setting back some of what they've been finding at this point, that ought to pay off nicely for them.
Yeah, exactly. If they've been finding some 40%ers or even 90%ers that, well, they don't look like they're in too great a shape, but it's still a 90% silver coin, or even the Canadian silver coins that will occasionally pop up in circulation here in the U.S. there again, they may only be 80% silver. So sure, you're not going to get full price that you see when you see what silver's selling at, but you're still getting money back. And
well, the one thing at the refineries, some of them do not take like your Silver War nickels. They don't take them. Don't take 40%. Now this is a refinery. This isn't like dealing with J.M. Bullion Company or Silvertown.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't take that. They don't take gold filled watch. Now they'll take a 14-karat watch, 10-karat watch, but gold filled, they won't take that either.
Right, and that's like a lot of times Midwest won't necessarily, for people that are into electronic scrap, they won't necessarily deal with that, but somewhere out there you're going to find a buyer. And let's face it,
and,
like with
when you deal with the refinery direct, and I have quite often, and they've got set rules, the way it's done, it comes in, they check it, they give you a percentile on it, and Midwest is one of the few that does not charge you for that work.
Right, and they give you a very high percentage payout.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I've worked with them quite a few years off and on different things, and they've been very good about what's going on. But you got to remember, the day they receive it, let's say we're at $2,050 today, that's the stamp that's put on that package, and that's the price you're going to work with. If it drops in transit from 2,050 to 1,900, they get it at 1,900. That's what you're going to work with.
Right. That is another thing you have to keep in mind. And you're going to get a better price percentage-wise from Midwest than you are dealing with your local pawn shop, your local gold buyer, your local coin store, because they have to make something on it too.
Well, if you're going with 999 silver bars and rounds, they give you 93%.
Which is not necessarily too bad.
That's not bad at all. But
no.
90% on silver coins, and when you sell to the local guy here, he may give you, let's say, 80%. That's up to you how you want to do it. If you're just looking for small sales and a cash deal, your local guy can save you some money.
Right.
If you have to report your state.
Right. Exactly. Which, not that I've got enough gold around to even worry about having to report, but if I did, then at that point, I'm certainly not so apt to sell, because what good does it do to sell if the doctors are just going to take it?
That's right. All those late date Rosies and Mercs you got sitting around, if you're really in love with them, keep them. If you aren't, and it's still going meteoric up, I mean, $1 a day rise is a pretty good jump for silver right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got Fred on with us out of New Jersey.
Hey, Fred,
hey,
did you stay dry?
Oh, man. I was out landscaping in the middle of a hurricane. I was spreading mulch, believe it or not.
Extreme landscaping.
Would you get upwind and just let it go and hope it landed there?
Yeah, well, I spent all day today cleaning up my yard, though. I got like 1.5 acres, and it was like, I didn't have any major trees come down, but I had a lot of minor branches and leaves and everything. The whole yard was covered.
I talked with Ronnie DeGhetto today, and they were up without power this morning, and they were without power throughout the day. He said, to heck with it. He lied. He went out and he went detecting on the beaches.
There you go. That's what you do. But my neighbors have no power still, so they're just a block away. The circuit just comes from a different direction, and the trees must have went down over that way. But I was driving down to meet my wife at her mother's house because she's going to sell it, and I was going down the highway down here, which is Route 17, and it was right in the middle of that storm, and I could see trees falling into the highway, just missing cars that were doing like 50 miles an hour. It was crazy.
Wow.
It was, when those storms come through, you guys aren't used to that because you probably don't get many hurricanes up in Ohio, right? I mean, they don't make it that far inland usually. But
no, yeah, we get tornadoes.
Oh, all right. Well, I'd rather have a hurricane than a tornado, I'll tell you the truth. There was some tornado warnings, and I think there was a couple that's touched down near Pennsylvania and down the shore. So, it was a pretty active storm. It moved fast, though. It moved right through. And but it left a lot of damage. It was 150,000 people out of power in New Jersey, I think.
Oh,
New Jersey.
I got to step away for a minute. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. I heard you guys talking about the price of gold, and that's pretty interesting. I wish I had more gold to sell, but I don't find much gold other than trying to find people's rings, But
right. And like in Chuck's case, or some of the other people in the chat, like with Chuck, he's got some gold rings, but he's got some raw gold as well. And you figure for many of us, detectorist-wise, many of the gold rings that we have sitting in our display boxes didn't cost us anything other than some time. So it's pure profit, no matter what the price is at. But they look just fine in my display case, so I think I'm just going to leave them there.
Yeah, well, I think gold is not going to go down substantially, so it's always a good chunk to have sitting around. And,
exactly.
I also, I didn't get to talk to you around your birthday. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday belatedly.
Very nice.
You had
Thank
a nice
you.
day. But and you also had your anniversary, so happy anniversary.
Yes, we did.
I'd like
Thank you.
to mention that personally. 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Sue and I are going on 30 in February, so we got you beat a little bit, but not as far as Chuck goes. He's probably up there further. But
yes, he is.
I went on. I had a couple interesting ring searches recently, probably caused by excessive alcohol consumption. One woman was mad at her husband, and she took off her wedding ring and chucked it in the woods next to their house down the hill.
Right.
And they called me.
I saw that one. That was a good job.
Yeah. I found that one, and that was a lot of luck involved in that because it was a really crappy woods, with a lot of open spaces it could have fallen into, and
tough environment.
I just happened to find that one, but yeah. And then the next one, I had another one right after that. Same exact situation. Argument, alcohol fueled argument, and the wife says, hell with you, buddy, and took the ring off and threw it in the woods. I looked for 3.5 hours for that thing. I couldn't find it. So,
and as a ring finder as well, that those situations happen far more often than what people realize.
Yes,
I think that's a very common ring finder element. The acts of usually has to do with alcohol. I don't think anybody in their rational argumentative mind would do something like that, but you never know. People get worked up.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be alcohol, but I think alcohol kind of helps the situation,
It can help to fuel it, and then the next day better judgment sets in, and it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I need some help.
You're talking $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. Some of those rings are really expensive.
I had one earlier this year that I think base price on it was $20,000.
Was that lost naturally, or did somebody take it off in a fit of passion and throw it?
No, that was intentional. I mean, she was a softball player, took it off and just launched it.
Oh.
We returned one last fall that was an alcohol-related loss.
Right.
Yeah. And that was a $14,500 ring.
Yep.
Well, I mean, people do crazy stuff when they're in the fit of passion or anger or alcohol-induced.
We had another one. We actually were responded to fire department-wise, a domestic on a houseboat. Husband, wife, she called it in, da-da-da-da. We had to put an officer on the boat. We had to get out there to him. And when we got there, he was doing fine up to the point she took the wedding ring off and chucked her in the Mississippi River.
Oh,
that one is gone for the ages.
That one's gone. Yeah, that one's gone.
And the hubby kept saying it was a 2.25 carat diamond ring.
Oh boy.
Well, that's
I've got the general location on it, but there ain't no way.
Well, you don't do scuba
There's
searching.
no way. There's
Dark
a little
water.
deep in the old water.
I had another ring search that I don't do many water searches, but somebody called me in a local reservoir here. They were kayaking, and then they went swimming after they got off the kayaks, and she felt her ring come off. The girl lost her wedding ring, and they asked me to look for it. So I was in there. I called you, Chuck, when I was doing that one. Remember I was telling you?
Remember that.
You told me I didn't have my headphone jack, plugged up, so water was getting in there. But I looked for like over 3 hours for that thing, and I was like using a face mask and a snorkel and going down as far as I could and reaching all the way down, But anyway, she called in a guy that I heard through another job, and a guy from Long Island who does scuba searching, kind of like Steve Zulik. And he found the ring. He definitely found the ring. So
excellent.
He said it was way down in a crevice of the rocks.
Do you know where you were at versus where he was at? How far you might have been off, or just the
I was
depth
off by about 30 feet. She was telling me this one rock outcropping, but she actually stood on another rock outcropping, which was closer to a dock. And I looked over that way, but I had a shorty wetsuit on, but I had no weight belt just to keep me warm in the water.
Right.
And if I tried to go down, I was like a cork, I'd have to go down and hold on to a rock to get down to the bottom to look around, So it was kind of frustrating, and I wish I had a scuba tank for that one. But the guy from Long Island came out and found it. And then the very next week, I got another call for a guy in a lake that lost a ring in Westchester County. And he said it was in like 8 feet of water. So I said, well, I don't do scuba detecting. So I called the guy from Long Island, and he found the ring. So,
nice.
We kind of help each other out, I guess, But I got a lot of calls in June and July for ring searches. So I only found one of them, though. But,
have any of you ever watched this little gal on YouTube by the name, I believe it's Nora Svet, S-V-E-T?
No.
Sounds
look her up
familiar.
on YouTube. She travels the world. She has been like in Spain and all over, but she's been through the U.S. recently. And she was down in some of the springs in Florida, and her recovery, she snorkels. And she's kind of fun to watch because she gets so excited when she finds stuff and that. And it's fun to watch somebody that has that excitement and fun. And you guys should watch her because she kind of really knows what she's doing. She uses a Excal, and she does very well.
Yeah, she's got a
What's
good
her
machine.
Name? Nora what?
S-V-E-T.
S-V-E-T?
Yeah,
Yes.
Sam, Victor, Edward, Tango.
Tango.
So Nora Svet. What is she, like Scandinavian or something?
No. Her dad, I think, lives in Italy. I don't know how all this works out, but that kid goes all the Caribbean. She's been in Europe. I mean, she's done videos, and they're good videos to watch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good YouTube.
I'll have to check that out.
Very good.
And she doesn't use the scuba? She goes down to snorkel?
She doesn't use scuba. She has a full wetsuit, and snorkel, and she free dives.
Yeah, I was going to say she's free diving.
Also detect.
Wow. She's got to have a good set of lungs.
And you
Stay down there
younger guys out there that are single, she's rather pretty young lady.
Uh-oh. All right. So now we're running a dating show here.
No, I'm just telling
well,
you.
That cuts. Yeah, that cuts us out.
What she thinks is gold, sometimes it isn't, and gets all excited and really enjoys the hobby. And they travel all over camping. He was just up in the Adirondacks.
Oh, wow.
Oh, she was.
Yes, and she's been down in Florida.
I metal detected in the Adirondacks. Yeah. Well, I'd like to travel all around metal detecting. That would be a fun life.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe
when I retire. Yeah, next year I'm going to retire.
Retirement just means you work different days and different hours.
Yeah,
right.
My wife wants me to retire.
You can kind of pick and choose hours. You can't pick the days all the time.
Yeah, it's if I have a little more time, I have to go. I have a friend whose father was gardening out in the yard like 20 years ago, and he lost his gold ring. And and so I'm going to go look for it tomorrow in their yard, because I was telling them I was in the RingFinders.
Yeah, hopefully it's successful.
So, wish me luck. You know, I don't like to talk about my ring searches before I do them, but this one's sort of a low key, no pressure. You know, if I find it, I find it. You know, so that just gives me an opportunity to metal detect a yard. You know, house probably built in the early 50s, so there might be some silver coins laying around.
I've been called to one gentleman's place twice. He lost his wedding band twice, and both times he tells me it's $1 million ring. He and his wife have been married right around 60 years.
Wow.
It's the largest ring I've ever found because he wears a size 16 ring.
Yeah, that thing is huge.
It's huge, and
must be more huger than it's supposed to be if it keeps falling off.
Right,
so they've given me permission to do a lot of their farms. The farm they are on is what they call a century farm in Illinois. The family's had it over a century, and that's been that way for 30 years now. So, and I've had some great hunting out there.
If I remember right, you've had some great potatoes from out there, too.
Yes, they wouldn't let me. She tried stuffing money in my pocket and different stuff to give me permission to do the various farms. And I said, no. And that's how he lost it, was digging sweet potatoes.
Oh, boy.
By hand. He has a 1-acre garden. He's in his late 80s. He's got, that time he was late 80s, in his 90s now. He's got a grip like a vice. He's an old farm boy, and he's also an Iwo Jima veteran, decorated.
Oh, my God.
And
that's great.
Not much more than 5'5", but built like a block house. I mean, this guy is he's strong.
Was he a Marine?
He was a Marine.
Was he a Marine?
He landed on Iwo Jima, went through the whole Iwo Jima, and then recouped and ended up in Okinawa.
Wow, those old Marines, you can't beat them, man. I mean, Marines put you through the drills, you know. I was never in the service, but people I know that were Marines, they give them a tough workout.
Yes, they do. He walks straight as he's at his age, he's still straight up as an arrow like a Marine.
Wow. That's an example a good example for a lot of these young kids.
His wife, she was very unhappy on the second time. He was clearing the garden again and lost the ring. And that was the challenging hunt, because he'd been taking stuff and pulling it and then piling it up in this big pile, getting ready to burn it, and realized the ring was gone again. And he had promised her he would get it sized, because as you get a little older, the hand shrinks a little bit. And he didn't do that. I showed up. She wanted me to take 40 pounds of sweet potatoes. It's just Jill and I. I mean, that's a lot of sweet potatoes. And I took another old bag home to Jill. I said, "There you go." Oh, man. She said, "They raise good potatoes." But I left there, and his son-in-law is a friend of mine. His son-in-law, Mike, called me up and said, "He's in deep trouble."
You found it, though. You found it twice?
I found it the second time, but it took a lot longer the second time than it did the first.
Well, congratulations. So, well, it's a very rewarding thing to do those ring searches.
Yes, it
do
is.
them just for friends. It really kind of validates our hobby. Gives it. I mean, I enjoy just finding things on my own, going out in the woods. I mean, I went over my mother-in-law's house for like the 10th time yesterday, and I found another silver dime, hidden away.
Cool.
Good job.
I've gone over that lawn. I must have found 60 coins in that yard. Not much silver. I found a Canadian dime. I found another old dime, no quarters. But I did find a 59 Roosevelt yesterday, so that was fun.
There you go.
After the storm, ground was soaking wet, so I think things were showing up a little better.
Yeah,
but,
good
We've had
conductivity.
some rain here, but right now it's you get on the shovel, it's like a pogo stick. You got to bounce a little bit to get it to break the top.
Right.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah, we dried up
You
again.
mean, okay. No, we're still, after that storm, we're real moist right now. So that'll help me with the ring search tomorrow too.
Right.
But,
yeah. If we'd quit having those
maybe
outbreaks here, I'd get out and see how the ground was.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this COVID thing passes us by soon. I'm getting tired of it. Everybody is.
I don't think you're going to get
are.
much rain your way, Josh, because it's been dry here. Today's high was 74 here.
Yeah,
really?
the weather is definitely more comfortable now than it has been in previous weeks, but we're still dry.
But they're talking this weekend, we're going back to August weather, 99 degrees.
Oh, well, thanks there, Johnny Raincloud.
It's coming your way. I will share it.
Yeah, well so you know what to expect next week, Fred.
Yeah, I guess
hot, humid.
you guys get it a little before it hits here. So sometimes we get your weather like 4 or 5 days later. But,
Yep.
That storm that went through. I was watching it track yesterday, and when I looked at it in the evening, it was all the way up by Quebec. Montreal and Quebec. It went all the way up.
Wow, that's moving.
Yeah, I mean that thing was a fast-moving storm, and it still was packing huge amounts of rain. So they must have got dumped on up there. So they don't usually go that far up, They usually peter out somewhere in New England, but that one just kept tracking straight up. So,
but it sounds like from the Carolinas north was where the worst damage was, because Mark made a statement on there. They got very little rain, very little wind in Florida. So it kind of skirted Florida and then came inland and shot up the coast that way. And
it gained power as it came up. My brother is in Vero Beach. He's on the Treasure Coast in Florida. And they were real concerned because the original track had it coming right in there, But it got close and then it just kind of neutralized and shot straight up the coast. And my aunt's in near Wilmington, North Carolina, and they got hit pretty hard, but no major damage, but they got a lot of rain. So it packs, those things pack a lot of, it's just the beginning of hurricane season for us. So I'm sure we're going to have a couple more, but hopefully, they're not.
Hopefully you don't have bad ones.
Yeah, well, we had that Sandy a few years back, and that in my front woods, it knocked down about 10 90-foot pine trees.
Yeah, I remember that. That took out part of your porch too, didn't it?
Oh yeah, well, that was another wind event, but Sandy was major down in our woods. But we had another one where the wind came from the opposite direction and it knocked a spruce tree over into our porch. So we've had some tree related. I saw this big white pine today with a crane lifting it off a house. It crashed right into this house, about 5 or 6 miles from me, and took out part of their chimney and caved in the whole end of the roof. I mean, it had to be a 100-year-old white pine. They get pretty big, but that thing blew right into the house.
Yeah, we had an incident here a couple of weeks ago where, the wind just came right out of nowhere, and I want to say we were getting upwards 50, 60 mile an hour gusts, and it just a few blocks away, it took a tree down that it wound up landing on 2 houses.
Yeah, well, somebody had a picture on Facebook of it in a town, a couple of towns away from here, this huge oak tree. The guy was delivering mail. He had one of these little mail trucks. And, I mean, it flattened that thing right down to the ground. The guy wasn't in the truck, thankfully. But, I mean, this huge tree, it was just like that thing was put in a crusher. Those little square, mail trucks.
Right.
The thing was right down to the ground. It was crazy. And then I saw a picture in Queens where they came through Queens, New York, and the guy was sitting in his car, and it came down like that, and the guy got killed, crushed him right in his car.
Ouch.
So you don't mess around with those storms because they pack so much wind and so much, it's nasty things. They're not as bad as a tornado, but they have a lot of power in them.
Well, they spawn a lot of tornadoes. Those hurricanes still going up.
Hey, Chuck, you doing any gold prospecting with the rates of the gold now?
Not right now. I've already got stuff hooked up for next summer to go. I pretty much, we didn't have plans to go there this year. Jill had some plans to do some traveling with a group, and I don't know if that's going to come off because that's due in January to go to Peru.
Nice.
Peru, really?
Peru. And they had a tour.
Down there then.
It's a crafting deal. Then they were going to spend 4 days in Machu Picchu.
And I had a trip
booked for England.
Oh, yeah?
When the girls go look at dyeing a cloth and making things and that, they're nice. They invite, but most of the guys go, well, no.
Yeah, they want to do something else. I was trying to, get on one of those tours to England. I had signed up with what's his name, CT Todd, from Connecticut.
Yep.
And he runs a little thing, kind of like Chicago Ron does, like.
It's the same kind of area and group. They've got the bars they go to and that, yes.
Yep, they go for a week with 6 guys, just enough to fit in their van. And they metal detect. I would love to do that. I'm going to do it one of these days, but, once this whole thing.
Hopefully they'll let us in, but right now talking with some of the guys over there the other day, they're threatening on closing pubs down again and doing different things. And when you go over there, we ate at the pubs several nights a week on the trips over there, things like that. And I had a 10-day trip planned with Ron this year, and we're all kind of in limbo on that because it doesn't look like it's going to come to pass.
Right. And many times with those tours, you figure there's sometimes a 2-year waiting list. Andy Sabish, he does the Scotland tours a lot, if I remember right as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you had to sign up. I signed up with CT Todd, because I knew his tours were going to be filled this year, and the COVID and everything just canceled everything, I guess. But so now it probably all gets pushed another year ahead, But
I would think
one of these days I'll get on one of those tours. So that'd be fun. That would nothing like just being out there days on end looking for 1,000-year-old stuff, if you can find it, because it's there, right?
It's
Chuck.
there.
Oh yeah, it's there.
I still haven't received mine. I was going to pick it up this year. I got 100 BC Romans, and I got a Celtic, and I got 1803 3 Guinea gold, and just all kinds of neat stuff. But you find you can go out and be working that same field and find a 20-year-old English penny and take 10 steps and find a Roman coin. And take 30 more steps and find pieces of aircraft that were shot down in that area in World War II.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be really interesting to find such a historically diverse,
wide variety
targets. Yeah,
50 caliber machine gun bullet. Found a bunch of them.
Yeah, I bet you they're probably shooting them at the Germans coming in.
Yes.
But There's a lot of activity over those
Colchester area was on kind of the flight line, part of it, for the Battle of Britain. As the bombers were coming across, they'd come through that area and just above it and bomb London.
You know, all those fighters shooting at those bombers and stuff, those bullets end up hitting the ground somewhere. So that's why you were finding some of them. But yeah, that's on my list. But you've been up to most of your prospecting, I guess, is either out west or in Alaska, right? The gold
That's correct. Yes, I've been all over Alaska. I haven't the past couple years. I wanted to try some different things. I wanted to do England trips. I went to a detective hall. You go up there. I don't go. If I go to Alaska, it's not for a week. I'm up there 3 to 5 weeks. I'm working with something. I was supposed to be up last year for that period of time with my brother-in-law and a group that are opening up a new site and see if we could get in there and doze down some tailings piles and see what we could find and work some equipment. And that didn't come to pass because the gentleman in charge of it all and owned the patented claims that we were going to work together had a heart attack. So that got all put on hold.
That's too bad.
He's alive. He's all right. All he had to do a bypass, and he's back in it, and they're going to get down in there now and start going. So hopefully I can get up there with him, and I'm going to AKAU again and detecting, and I enjoy that up there very much. If you want to go and really, really get out and away from everybody, you can do that there. Trust me.
Yeah, just pack a sidearm for when those bears show up, right?
Yes, I do.
You've got to. You are not at the top of the food chain.
Yeah. I mean, those are the kind of bears that you got to worry about. I mean, we get black bears around here, and they're usually pretty docile, but, you know, you start seeing grizzlies or brown bears, I mean, that kind of worrisome when they're like 9 feet tall.
And it ain't just the bears you got to watch out for.
No, I've had run-ins with muskox. I've had run-ins actually with smaller critters that tend to turn on you. You can bump into once in a while too, up there.
Oh, really?
Well, they'll make you stand up and stuff.
They have wolves up there, don't they?
Yes, they do. I have seen wolves up there, but at a great distance.
I never want to mess with one of them.
No. And usually,
I saw a picture. Some girl took a video way up in northern Canada. She was driving in her car on this empty road, and these 2 black wolves are running right next to her, full speed.
Oh.
Like at 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour or something. They would just make these long strides. What a powerful looking animal.
What gets me is people go out west, they go into the parks and that, and they get out and they want to take pictures of animals and they want to be as close as they can to them, and they get the hell kicked out of them because they're messing with a buffalo or they're messing with other creatures like moose. They're not a barnyard animal. They aren't in a petting zoo.
Right.
Literally, I've seen pictures of cars that buffalo out west has rammed it and just totally it looks like a semi hit the side of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is not like playing. Yeah, this is not like playing with your neighbor's kitten.
Yeah, and you don't go get out with bears. And because especially, aren't those cubs cute? Let's go over and get a picture. They got to remember one thing. Those 2 cubs might be in that tree for a reason. Mama puts them there, and Mama's not far away, and she's probably very angry.
Right, and that's when it's time to go.
You don't want to mess with the babies. I've seen when I was down in Smoky Mountains, there's a lot of bear there, in Tennessee and North Carolina border there. And I was going through there with my father, and you'd see the bear, and people stop to look at the bear, just like you're saying. And there's a guy, he's got the bear leaning on the hood of his car, and he's holding stuff and dropping it in the bear's mouth, like food. Now, that bear could just come up and take that guy's hand in a second,
Yeah.
And people just,
they
don't have a clue,
Yeah, and this is the beginning of a potential mauling, and then people wonder why it happened.
And then they want to kill the bear, but somebody just got, some guy here in New Jersey just got mauled by a bear for the second time. This is the second bear attack we've had in the last 5 years. But he's an older guy. He took his dog out for a walk, and he left his garage open. He lives out in West Milford, which is like more bear country from here, west of here. And he came back, and the bear was in there trying to get into the refrigerator in the garage. And he kind of cornered the bear. So the bear swatted
bad
his face,
thing to do.
ripped his face open. Yeah. So the guy, it's like a 75-year-old guy. So they shot the bear. They euthanized the bear. Yeah. But I guess once they get that aggressive or whatever, I guess that's the only thing they can do with them. But,
and black bears aren't docile at all. They're nobody to mess with, and if she's got a couple cubs with her, they give her a very wide berth.
Yeah, I get them in my yard.
And actually, this may be due to numbers, but there are more attacks on humans by black bears than there are grizzly and brown.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, it is.
We had a hiker in here in New Jersey a couple of years ago, 3, maybe 4 years ago. He actually got killed by a black bear. There was a bunch of people hiking, again, out in West Jersey. And somehow the bear picked this guy out of the group and kind of chased him down and mauled him and killed him. So that was a big deal, too. I mean, it wasn't like, it was weird. It was like a very aggressive bear. I don't even know if they got that bear or not.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but, we got to remember a lot of times, same thing when we're in the water. You're not in your domain. You're in their domain.
Yeah, well, somebody just got attacked by a shark here in New Jersey recently, but they didn't get killed. But the girl up in New York girl up in Maine, she got killed by a great white.
Right.
Killed her. I think she was kayaking or something and fell out of the kayak, and the great white got her. So that's straight out of Jaws. That's scary stuff.
Yeah, that's real scary stuff.
I mean, sharks scare me. Bears don't scare me that much because I stay away from them. But you don't know a shark's there. They come in right in on the shore. I mean, I saw a picture. Somebody took a photo down at the Jersey Shore a couple weeks ago. There was a wounded dolphin, and the sharks were attacking it, and it was just chopping that thing up. You can see the shark's fins coming out of the water, and the water's filled with blood. I mean, if you were in the water, you could be part of that whole mess, And
it's like sharks
10 feet off the
pick
shore.
up on that blood from a long distance in the water.
Yes, they can.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're trained to do. That's what their senses are
more and
tuned
more
into that. Yeah, well, what they did was they put the great white shark on the endangered species list, and they say now the population is exploding. So I don't know if that's, I kind of like animals, but I'm not sure if I like animals.
Right, and that could be debatable. I mean, there are a number of species of shark that are actually on the endangered species list or being a protected species. And it's unfortunate when you have those interactions. Sometimes, I mean, it's not like, I mean, it's a shark. It's not like it set out with the intention of, I'm going to kill a human today.
I know. I understand that, but
nevertheless, people are in the wrong place at the wrong time with a lot of this. But then they do, like I said earlier, they bring it on themselves. They want a Kodak moment with me with a wild animal, and they try to put themselves in a position that the wild animal does not like them there.
Right, because
I don't know anybody that wants a Kodak moment with a shark.
They're out there. They're out there. They're out there. It's kind of
scuba dive
in the water with them. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's kind of like an extreme sport. I mean, there is actually a magazine, I want to say based out of Florida, or at least used to be, called Shark Diver Magazine, where that's what they're like adrenaline enthusiasts. That's what these people live for, is to be in the water and get these photos of these massive sharks. They're not only are they out there looking for sharks, they're looking for the biggest ones they can find.
Yeah, well, those people are nuts.
Right?
I had a customer who's had two daughters. When I worked at his house, they were like 9 years old. Well, they became teenagers, and then they became like 20-year-olds. And one moved out to Washington State, and the other one was traveling all over the world. The one in Washington State was a mountain, rock climber, fell off the rocks and got killed. The other one was in India and got eaten by a saltwater crocodile, killed off the coast of India. So he lost both his daughters in adventure sport type things, So, I mean, you stick your neck out, you got to be willing to have it broken, But the girl in India, I think she was just swimming, and they have saltwater crocodiles there that are like 20 feet long. They're worse than a great white.
Yeah, they're
had
quick.
Very close calls with bears and other animals up in Alaska, and I didn't put myself into a position that I wanted to be in that area, but ended up there and ended up face to face with about a 8-foot tall grizzly, because he stood over the top of the willows at a couple feet. Of course, they look very large when they're under 30 yards from you. Standing
yes,
out,
they do.
Their teeth, their jaws.
And 30 yards is
to change your underwear.
30 yards is too close for a creature like that. If they full on run at you, they're going to get you.
Well,
you can't outrun a bear, I don't think.
They can go from 0 to 45 up a mountain in 0.6 of a second.
Yeah.
There you go.
And they can sustain that for quite a way.
Yeah, you're not going to outrun one, that's for sure.
A fast runner is 22 miles an hour for a human.
Yeah, by the time you realize and try to react, the game's already over.
And it was a day before I settled down after that encounter, because I literally laid across the handlebars of the ATV with a 44 and a hammer back. I thought I was in deep, deep trouble. And he dropped down and then went back into the willows. We were in his domain. We were hauling equipment into a dredge camp. And I had a trailer on behind the ATV, and we were traveling a small 2-track, and they had some tundra to go across, and we just were there when he was there fishing. We were right along a river, and he didn't like us there. That was his spot.
Well, yeah.
We turned around and went back to the main camp, and they got a big group together riding 2x2. You make a lot of noise, and generally they'll go away, and we never ran into him again. I actually had a lady ask me if I got a picture.
No. That's not what you're thinking about at that time.
But I didn't take but the two gentlemen with me, and they turned around, and they looked at her and kind of went, what? You don't understand.
Yeah, right?
And so they put warning signs up along that area, because we had to then go around a long ways to leave that area alone, because there was a heavy salmon run and a lot of bears present.
Oh, yeah. They love that, I guess. They're scooping them right out of the water, right?
You're right out of the water. I mean, literally, they're fattening themselves up for the long winter, and they eat a lot of salmon.
Yeah, you don't want to inject some human meat into that diet.
No, I'd rather not.
Many people get. Yeah.
Well, just a couple of years after that, a bunch of the firemen out of Nome were going up on a muskox hunt outside of Nome, and they were about 30 miles out of town, and they were going up one of the mountainsides there on that range, and the chief went out ahead, turned the bike around, and was taking pictures of the rest of the group coming, and where he stopped was right next to a big grizzly. It attacked him, and his men had, at that time, they had the NARS radios and could get help. They flew a chopper in. They saved his life, but it retired him. And all he did was get off the bike and was taking pictures of his guys coming at him, coming up on this big hunt that they'd all planned and having a good time. And he just stopped at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
Well, the hunter became the hunted at that point. So that's, Yeah, when you're in that country, that's the risk you take, I guess, because it's so wild. I'd love to go to Alaska. I mean, just to see it. I mean, it must be beautiful.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
beautiful, phenomenal
I recommend
scenery.
anybody to go there while you got a chance. Go there. It's amazing, and since the first time I went up in 80, what year was that? 83. The changes has been phenomenal with even urban sprawl up there and around Fairbanks and Anchorage and Wasilla and those areas. It's grown existentially, and we have a huge military presence up there and a lot of people there. And but once you get off the tourist trail leaving from Anchorage, all the way up the Kenai Peninsula into Anchorage and up through to Denali on the Parks Highway and into Fairbanks and then back over to North Pole. Once you get off that, then it turns wild immediately, totally wild. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's just, I can't tell you enough that if you have the opportunity, go.
Absolutely stunning photography.
I've been very fortunate. My brother-in-law ran a flying service. His father-in-law ran a big Audi Air for many years, and I was able to move about that area a lot. And then I've been from Prudhoe Bay all the way down into Kotzebue over to Nome. I have not made it out into the Aleutians. I would like to go into the Aleutians one time. My dad was stationed and fought in World War II in the Pacific campaign in the Aleutians, B-17 bomber. I'd like to go over to Dutch Harbor where he was at in some of those places.
Right.
But you got to realize going to the tip, what is it, the farthest, the Coral Islands, we run all the way out towards them. It's 2,000 more miles.
Yeah, you're close to Russia then, right? When you're in the
well, you get outside of Nome, you go north of Nome, you're only 160 miles from Russia.
Wow.
Everybody made fun of Sarah Palin because she says Russia's our back door. You can see it. You can actually get up on a high point and see Diamonite Island, which is Russia.
Right.
Yeah, I bet you can. No, my nephew is in Juneau, Alaska, with the Coast Guard, but that's further south. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he transferred from St. Petersburg, Florida, to Juneau, and he drove all the way there.
Talk about from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, I don't know. He got kind of tired of St. Petersburg, and he wanted to see Alaska, so he went up to Juneau. So he's up there. It's pretty. You can't even get there on a highway. You got to take a boat into Juneau. Supposedly, like the highways don't. I don't know. It's isolated by whatever. So,
well, they are. Alaska is a country upon itself, even though it's part of the United States. And they look at it this way, and it's the first time we were up there, there was an argument they were all excited in Fairbanks because they built a Dairy Queen. And brick and mortar, I mean, they serve food too. One of the first ones up there. The owner of the property got into it with the owner of the Dairy Queen, who had made arrangements to put this on there, and they got into some big match, and we left. Joe and I went on down. We had friends in Wasilla, stayed with them, then went all the way down to Seward and then over to Homer on the Kenai, and when we came back, the Dairy Queen was gone.
Oh, boy.
The owner of the property dynamited it.
Whoa.
I'm serious. Look it up. It's back. There wasn't much more than a half a brick size piece left. It was, Robert says, they got in a little problem, and he decided to get rid of the building.
Well, that's a good way to settle an argument.
But
Alaska justice.
Alaskans are a hardy breed of people.
They did not want a bridge. They did not want to be connected by road. As 2 weeks before the ribbon cutting was, it got dynamited.
Oh.
Yep.
Jeez. Well, I guess they got their own minds up there. Strong ones.
Yes.
But,
and they take it a whole lot different. And everybody's dream came true for me one time in Alaska. We were in Talkeetna, Talkeetna is the jump-off point for all the climbers to go to Denali. And they fly the bush pilots, fly them up to the 14,000-foot level and drop off their gear and all this. While we were there, the BBC was in town, and they had a group of British climbers at that time going to attack or make the assault up Denali. Well, we're in the Talkeetna Inn, which is on the historic register at that time. It was a gravel road going back there then. And I'm seeing all these guys setting up photography stuff and that. Finally, I asked the one guy, I said, what's going on? We were in the inn. Oh, we're with Playboy. We're filming The Girls of Alaska. They're due here any time. And I'm like, cool.
Oh, boy.
That, and I'm serious now. My wife, all the gals in town were asked to be at the inn that night for the background shots. They did makeovers on all the gals. They kicked all the men out, and they fed and wined and dined the girls and took all the pictures. And that's the only year I got to have a subscription to Playboy. I was waiting for the pictures to come out.
There you go. Well, that's a good story. And let me ask you this, because you've been up there quite a few times. What was the biggest piece of gold you ever found?
3.25 ounce nugget.
Wow.
That's a good size piece.
Yeah.
The biggest I have.
And you found that in a tailing pile or where?
That was in a tailing pile.
Wow.
That was off the
that.
highway.
Wow. That's awesome.
At mile 72 on the Stees.
That must have got your heart racing when that showed up.
Yes, because up to that point, that was early on. I had a Mine Lab Golden Hawk. It was a Golden Hawk 1000. That was one of the early gold machines, and that thing was actually finding some pretty nice pieces, and I was enjoying myself, and I got a banging hit, but I'd gotten a lot of that because these old tailing piles are full of iron. They're full of all kinds of metal stuff, and at that time you didn't have a real tell of the sound between gold and iron. And so I thought, oh, here's a dig. I dug it, and I'm moving down, and I actually rolled it out of the hole, and it rolled behind me, and I kept working it, and I'm going, well, where'd that go? And I swung around and started checking what I threw out, and there it is, just laying looking at me. I didn't even see it when I pulling stuff out. So that's the largest single piece. Did it look like
a gold nugget? It wasn't like encrusted in anything else?
It was just a gold nugget.
Gold.
Just gold.
Wow.
Yep. I had no quartz in that one. I found others that are 2. I've got some 1.5, a lot of 1 ounce over the years with a detector.
Yeah. He's done well.
Yes. Yeah,
he's done well.
But you got to work at it. They don't jump up into your pocket.
No.
No, it's not like people would imagine. But so now, if you were to go there tomorrow, what machine would you be using?
I got a particular like for a machine. Now, some people use the 5000s, and some use the GPZ 7000. Very good machine, very rugged machine.
I like the $7,000 machine.
Yeah, that's $8,000. The SDC 2300, and the reason I like it, no matter what the weather, you can use it. Some of the other, like the 5000s and earlier machines, in damp weather, and Alaska is almost always damp, misty in the mornings, wet. You're limited to a lot of not use because of rain, and Alaska has a lot of rain quite often in these areas, and you want a machine that's rugged. I could throw that STC in the stream, wash it off, fold it up, and
who makes that?
Down the road,
Mine
it
Lab.
folds up to itself, and it does get
that's
good.
Mine Lab too?
Yeah, it's Mine Lab. It's a mil-spec Mine Lab machine.
Platform.
Is that an older machine?
That's been out now for...
It's been out for a few years, yeah. But I wouldn't necessarily call it an older one.
No, it's not. It has the current technology, and Coiltex actually came out, and you can get coil options for it now. It used to be it was just a straight single coil unit, but now you can change coils on them.
So the control unit is what you're worried about with the moisture?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's more ruggedized.
That's my favorite machine. It's heavy. It swings well, but it's heavy. But it's built to take it. I mean, I sold some to the Bering Sea group. Steve and his dad, the Pomerankies, bought a couple of those for me because the way I demonstrated it was out at their claim, and I took it and I chucked it about 20 feet, threw it into the rocks, walked over, unfolded it, hunted for about 15 minutes, and found a 3 pennyweight nugget right in front of them.
Good
Those
demo.
guys, they beat the daylights out of stuff up there. When you're in Alaska, things take punishment.
It's got to be
and
rugged.
You want something that can stand the punishment. If you want a metal detector that can take punishment, that SDC is one. And it is a gold machine.
Proof. Yeah.
Yep. It is a gold machine.
So,
period.
Well, you're going to search for gold. That's what you want. Gold machine.
But I want it, and I've used it. Now I've used it in the Southwest, but in the Southwest, the little Gold Monster 1000 is just literally tearing it up. But then the 5000 out there, boy, those guys swing those, and they do very, very well with those.
Yes, they do.
The 7000, that thing is right in its own book. I mean, there's guys recovering stuff with those at amazing depths. I mean, the demonstration for the 7000 that I was shown on that was a 1 ounce nugget that was recovered at 4 feet.
Wow.
Nice.
4 feet.
4 feet.
You're doing some heavy digging. Well,
and that was Australia soil.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of guys down in Australia finding some really big nuggets.
Oh, phenomenal.
Huge ones.
And some of the finest gold in the world.
Yep.
Oh, really? Quality-wise?
Yes.
Purity-wise?
Yep.
Purity.
Yeah, they like hack it right out of the ground. It's amazing.
Alaska gold runs from, if you go down to the Kennecott region, it can be 60%, a lot of copper with it and other materials.
Oh, really?
Yep. Oh. And you get up around Nome, it's generally in the 80s. You get in other areas, it may push in some areas around 90, but a lot of it's 80%. There's a lot of other metals, silver and platinum found in it and that kind of stuff. Some of our purest gold that we can find today is actually in Georgia and Wyoming.
Oh, yeah? Well, they
run well into 90%.
Wow. Well, you could probably write a whole book on your stories up there. Sounds like
he could.
I've had a lot of there. Had some great people. I met real miners. I met guys that taught me a lot about it, and worked with them. And I feel very fortunate to have known some of these guys and learned from them. Panning techniques, dredging, sluice, big operations. I've got to work on all of them and learn a lot about it, and I feel very, very fortunate for that.
Those are great experiences. You've seen a wide range of influences and different ways to mine the gold. So that's wonderful life experiences. So I know it's getting kind of late for your show, Josh, so I'm going to sign off. But it was great talking to you guys. And
Brad, good luck on that hunt. Let us know how you did.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. I'll try to call you Sunday. I was going to call in on Sunday, but you guys had some kind of, your own thing going with some kind of drawing or something. I didn't want to interrupt in that, like you were doing some kind of thing for a video or something. I haven't been following that. So how'd that work out?
We were announcing the winners of the July challenge, and worked out quite well for a few people. I think they're quite pleased with the prizes that are headed their ways.
Good.
Yeah.
That's interesting to have those kind of things going. I didn't listen to it enough. I've never really watched his videos. Crazy Spider or something. Guy's name.
Crazy Spider Adventures. He does some good work.
Okay.
He does. He does a good job.
All right, I'll have to check that out. And I also want to check out this girl. I want to check this pretty girl, Nora Zvet, and see how she's
Zvet. Yeah, it sounds Norwegian. S-V-E-T.
Yeah, that's an odd name.
That's what she goes by, is S-V-E-T on her YouTube channel. Zvet.
Okay, I'll check that out. And maybe I'll talk to you guys Sunday or something. We'll see how it goes. But it was great talking to you and interesting conversation. So
yeah,
you guys
yes,
have
I'm glad you guys didn't have a lot of damage out there.
Yeah, no, some people, there's been isolated pockets of heavy damage, but it wasn't like one of those killer hurricanes. It was more of a nuisance hurricane, as far as how it affected things around here. So I'm glad about that. My wife's down the shore. I don't know. She wanted me to go with her today, but I don't know if they had any cuts on the beach or anything. I haven't heard anything about that. Ronnie would probably be able to tell you that, whether or not they had any erosion.
I'll probably call him tomorrow and see how he did.
Ask him that question, because it might have cut into the beaches and exposed some lower strata stuff.
I'm sure somewhere it did.
Yeah, well, I know they've been complaining because they're replenishing the beaches too much, and
they're burying everything, right?
That.
Yep.
Yeah, there's places down the Jersey Shore where they find old doubloons and stuff that were from shipwrecks off the coast in certain parts of the Jersey Shore. I don't know exactly where that is, but guys on my club have actually metal detected down in those areas. And they try to go out to those areas after storms, So that's a whole nother specialty facet of the hobby that I'm not that experienced in. But I know guys do very well with that when they know how to read know how to read the beach and everything, and go in the right timing. So,
Terry Shannon's book is a good place to start.
Yes, it is.
Whose book?
Terry Shannon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was on the show a while back with Josh.
Twice.
And, that book is excellent.
Is that the guy from down on the Treasure Coast?
Yep,
yes.
Detecting the Treasure Coast.
Oh, I talked to him when he was on your show. He's a real nice guy. Yeah, he had some interesting stories about the stuff he found down there. That's right where my brother lives, Vero Beach. He's in the Treasure Coast.
Right.
So I'm trying to, one of these days I'll get a trip down there.
There you go.
That would really be awesome to find something from one of those ships.
Oh yeah.
But we got a lot of possibilities in this hobby. So we discussed a few of them tonight, and it's interesting the inroads you've made in that gold nugget stuff, Chuck. You have a lot of experience in
that was a passion. Joe was telling me the other day, I've been up into Alaska. I made 19 trips up there.
It is your home away from home.
Make it 20th.
Yep. Well, it's nice to have some family. I can camp out there a little bit, because Alaska, if you think Florida's expensive, go to Alaska.
Yeah, it ain't cheap.
Yeah, everything's got to be expensive up there.
$6.99 a gallon for a gallon of milk, and $4.99 for a gallon of gas up around Nome, and so you learn to eat a lot of salmon and don't drive around much.
Yeah. Well, you gotta modify your behavior for the environment. You're not going to be gas guzzling up there. So,
right.
But all right. Well, I'll talk to you guys again soon. It was great talking to you.
Take care, Fred.
Take care.
All
Good luck with the hunt. Stay safe.
Thank you. I'll let you know. I'll see you.
Josh, I'm going to get out of here, buddy.
I think I'm going to get out of here, too.
Yeah, I imagine everybody's snoring on the chat right now. I'm not by the chat.
Well, you let him back up there for a while with the girls of Alaska.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, to tell you, that was wow. Anyway, we'll talk to you some other time.
All right. Thanks for the call, Chuck.
Good night, buddy.
All right. So for everyone else, I think we're going to roll on out of here as well. But yeah, something to think about. Keep us posted on how the Equinox update is going for you if you're an Equinox user and using the Equinox and have updated it. Let us know about the Vanquish update if you're a Vanquish user. We'll see what happens and let us know what your thoughts are on the gold and silver prices and what you may do. Is it time to sell? Are you going to continue to stack? We all have different reasons for why we're doing things. Some people may think it's a little mad at times, but for many of us, our reasons are our reasons, and there's logic in the madness. Great call from Mike, Fred, and always a great call from Chuck. Chuck is always full of such very, very good stories. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the show tonight. If you enjoyed the show, make sure and throw us a like. You can follow us here on Spreaker, iHeart, iTunes, YouTube, all sorts of different places. We're out there everywhere. We really are. And we are starting to put episodes back over to YouTube again. We did kind of take a little bit of a break from that, but we are carrying some of them over again, and tonight's will probably wind up there as well. So until the next one, folks, have a wonderful evening. Get out there and try to dig something if you can. Make sure, be safe, mask up, practice social distancing, and post up those photos if you find something. You know how we love to see them. We'll catch you on the next one.